So in today's number, we're going to go over some statistics in the market for this past week. Now we're going to go on a county level, but we're also going to take it hyperlocal, and we're going to look at Odessa, Land O'Lakes, Wesley Chapel, Brandon, Riverview, the city of Tampa, and also the city of St. Petersburg. I'm Chris Johnson, your local Tampa realtor. Make sure you give this video a like and also subscribe to our channel for weekly videos. Now let's go ahead and take a deep dive into some numbers. Let's start with Hillsborough County, and we're going to compare this week in September and also what happened this time last month in August, and we'll see what we got. So for Hillsborough County, we are looking at 306 properties that have sold. In this past week, the average list price was $425,000. The average close price was $420,000, which we're looking at about a 99% sale price to list price ratio, and the average date of contract was 21 days. Now let's compare these numbers to what we saw this time last month in August. So the sold numbers in August are 406 properties that sold, so we're down about 100 properties from this time last month to this time this week in this month. List price, median list price was $420,000, close price $415,000, and average date to contract was about 12 days. So we're starting to see a little bit of homes that aren't selling as much this time this week as what we saw this time last month in August. Now let's move right into Pasco County. Sold in September of this week, 194 properties, list price median $375,000, close price $370,000, which we're seeing that the list price to home price close price ratio is pretty close, so we're not seeing drastic drops from where we are at the list price to the close price so far with Pasco and Hillsborough County. The average date of market in Pasco County was about 11 days on the market. Now let's compare these numbers to what we saw this time in August, and we've got 274 homes that sold. So again, more homes that sold in this time last month as opposed to this week in September. The average list price is $400,000. The average close price is $399,000, with the average date on market at 11 days. So pretty close. Again, we're not seeing much drastic drops from list price to close price this week as kind of what we saw this week last month as well. Now let's move on to Pinellas County. Now what sold this week in Pinellas County, we had 207 properties that have sold this week with an average list price, median list price of $424,000, median close price of $412,000. So a little bit of a different ratio here compared to what we saw in Pasco and Hillsborough, and the average date on market is 18 days for this past week. Now let's compare these numbers to what we saw this week in August. Closed properties, 304 homes. So again, we're seeing slightly lower homes selling this week than what we saw last month during this week. List price, median list price, $469,900. Close price, $464,000. Now this is a little bit different here. We're seeing, again, still pretty close to your average list or your median list price to close price, and your median days to contract is 13 days. So the numbers seem pretty consistent with what we're seeing this week compared to what we have seen last month in the same week. Now let's look at the city of Tampa and what has sold this past week. 130 properties have sold in Tampa, the city of Tampa, this past week, with a median list price of $435,000 and the median close price of $428,000. So again, we're not seeing drastic drops in prices where people are thinking, you're able to kind of lowball offers. We're just not seeing that. The numbers aren't showing that here. Median days to contract, 22 days. So you can see here at hyperlocal in the city of Tampa, it is taking a little bit longer for homes to sell, but we're still right about 22 days on the market, which on average, it's pretty close to being on pace. Now let's take a look at the numbers for the city of Tampa for this time, same week, but in last month in August. So we've had 172 properties that had sold. Median list price of $422,500. median close price of 413,500, and the average median days on market 12 days. Now let's get super hyper local here with some of the suburbs. So I'm combining Wesley Chapel, Land O'Lakes, and Odessa. These are a couple of our popular suburbs in the northern part of the Tampa area. And let's take a look and see what has sold this week in these three areas. We've got 66 properties that have sold with an average median list price of $549,450. The average median close price was $540,000, and the median days to contract was 6 days. So you can see here we got a little over $8,000 in the difference between what has the list price and what is the sales price in the popular suburbs of Wesley Chapel, Land Lakes, and Odessa. 6 days is the median days to contract. Still pretty fast, so that means we're only looking at one weekend of traffic with buyers coming through and are getting offers on homes. Now let's compare those numbers to what we saw this time last month in August for the third week of August. There was 104 properties that have sold, and it was a median list price of $516,500, a median close price of $514,500. So we're still not seeing much of a difference between list price to sales price. And the median days to contract, 6 days, which was just about what we saw this past week in September in the northern suburbs. So homes are still moving pretty quick in our popular suburb areas. Now let's take a look at Brandon and Riverview, another popular area in our market. So this time, this past week here in September, we had 59 properties that had closed in Brandon and Riverview with a median list price of $420,000, close price of $415,000, and a median day to contract of 24 days on the market. So taking a little bit longer for homes to get under contract, but again, we're not seeing much of a difference between list price and sales price. So $5,000 difference here on median between Brandon and Riverview on homes that sold this past week. Now, if we compare that to what we saw in August, the same week in August last month, we've got 86 properties that sold in Brandon and Riverview. So a little bit less than what we're seeing, but it looks like that's kind of the normal from what we've seen on all of our statistics today. The median list price this time last month was $414,500. The close price was $418,300. So again, we're not seeing a huge difference in days to contract, 12 weeks. So we're looking at about two weekends for properties to get under contract in the Brandon and Riverview area from what we saw this time last month. What we saw this past week was about 24 days, so almost 3 weekends. And last but not least, let's take a look at numbers for St. Petersburg, the city of St. Petersburg, and what has sold this past week. 75 properties have sold this past week in the city of St. Petersburg with a median list price of $379,000. Close price, median $371,000, and the median days to contract is 11 days. So again, same correlation we're seeing with our numbers throughout the whole market area. We're not seeing much of a difference between list price and close price. Now let's compare these numbers to what we saw this week last month in August. Again, we saw more homes that sold. So 111 homes sold this week last month in August with a median list price of $425,000 and a close price of $420,000. Median days to contract, 11 days. Not a huge difference. The only thing we saw is just a difference in price, but I think if we take a look at going back on the numbers for this past week as an average number, we can see that it was $525,694 compared to what we saw this average close price this time last month in August was $578,264. So not much of a difference here from what we're seeing. So kind of what I'm gathering is we're going to do these weekly market update videos in all of these areas to kind of show you what we're seeing week by week. Real estate is changing rapidly, so almost daily, but we're going to go ahead and break things down for you guys week by week. We're going to compare what we're seeing this week, sold compared to what we saw last month during the same week that is sold as well. And we're just going to run these numbers that way we can educate you guys and bring a little bit more value to what we're seeing in the marketplace, because obviously we're very data driven and the numbers aren't going to lie. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to subscribe, we would totally appreciate that. We would love your support. We're going to keep putting out more content for you all. And I'm Chris Johnson, your local Tampa realtor. All of my information will be in the description below. If you have any questions about making a move, or if you're moving out of the area or in the area, we would love to have a conversation to help you out.